Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. The long-awaited coronial inquest into the deaths of 4 Targa Tasmania competitors has begun in Hobart. One witness revealing the harrowing final moments of one of those drivers, Shane Navin, whose car lost control, ending his life in 2021.
Entering Hobart Magistrates Court ahead of a 4-day inquest. A coronial hearing hoped to reveal how 4 drivers, Shane Navin, Lee Mundy, Dennis Neagle and Anthony Seymour, lost their lives, all while racing in Targa Tasmania events. Their deaths leading to the postponement of future rallies. Shane Navin's navigator among today's witnesses. Glenn Evans revealing what happened in the final moments before their rally car crashed down an embankment on the Mount Arrowsmith stage in 2021. We're not quite straight, but Shane's got this, he thought. But before long, the car was submerged in water. It was quite dark, hard to see. I thought, I can't get him out in time. Also appearing in the witness box was Graham Malcolm, whose role was to check the 2,000-kilometre course in 2021 prior to racing. He was asked if his team noticed any road bumps near where incidents occurred. He replied, I didn't think it was out of character, nothing insignificant. We didn't consider it would have any impact, but admitted the road was noticeably slippery, adding that most race stages have black spots because of the terrain. Sandra Seymour also questioned about the weeks leading up to her 2022 race, which saw her husband Anthony killed near Mount Roland, also rolling down an embankment. She confirmed nothing was impacting Anthony's ability to drive, adding their vehicle was inspected before every single event. The inquest will continue over the week, with Targa Tasmania's Mark Perry and Motorsport Australia's Scott McGrath set to give evidence over coming days, with hopes it may provide some form of closure to the families and loved ones involved. Also ensuring such a tragedy never happens again. Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
Worksafe inspectors have walked off the job, calling for wage disparities and diminishing staffing levels to be fixed. They're among several other Tasmanian workers fuming over lack of pay equity with interstate counterparts.
Frustrated and fed up. The latest of a growing number of local workers fighting for pay parity.
Tasmanian workers have had enough. They know the value of the work that they do.
Worksafe inspectors calling on the government to increase wages and fix the disparities. They say mainland counterparts are earning at least $60,000 more to do the same job.
And the pay disparity is huge, and it's become a really big problem, particularly as Tasmanians are doing it tough with the cost of living crisis.
It's not a fair deal for local people to have the same skills as the people on the mainland, not to get paid the same wages.
The union is also demanding the government addresses the recruitment and retention crisis, claiming more than a quarter of the roles are vacant, with new industrial manslaughter laws also seeing demand for their service increase.
It's absolutely critical that we have inspectors on the job, keeping Tasmanians safe.
The state government says it's in the hands of the union and Worksafe to fix the disparities.
Our government's expectation is that the parties keep talking.
With National Safe Work Month getting underway in October, the union is warning it will ramp up industrial action if its demands aren't met. Rebecca Gaidaneris at 7 Tasmania News.
The Treasurer and Shadow Treasurer have clashed in a Budget Estimates Committee meeting over whether the state is headed for financial disaster. The exchange saw Michael Ferguson label Josh Willey a coward, a comment he later withdrew.
Treasurer Michael Ferguson is the first to admit the state's budget is under pressure and the government needs to be responsible in carrying Tasmania through a period of high inflation.
And so we've recognised that the budget is in deficit and we've not tried to correct that too quickly. If we did, I believe that the pain and the damage to the economy would be too much.
The Shadow Treasurer taking aim.
Isn't it a fact we will see significant blowouts in the preliminary outcomes at the end of the year?
Well, no, it's not a fact, Mr Willey, and you can't state it as fact.
It hasn't been achieved for 20 years, what you're projecting.
You've just asked me if it's a fact. No, it's not a fact, and it's your hope, I think, because you're so negative. You've been a coward in the parliament. You've not been prepared to ask me a single question.
Point of order, Chair. The Treasurer has just called a member of this committee a coward.
This is a very, very difficult budget. It's very difficult to see how Michael Ferguson can actually meet his expenditure targets that he set for himself.
Pressure also mounting on the Premier over how much the Macquarie Point Stadium will cost Tasmanian taxpayers.
Haven't told the truth about what it's going to cost, though.
Well, I have said we'll be investing $375 million, Ms O'Connor, and happy to be held account to that.
It's unarguably an untruth to say we're investing once, just once. The state has to invest over and over again, and that's carried by Tasmanians.
Yeah, I would respectfully disagree because we've made that commitment.
Agreeing to disagree. Melinda Ogden, 7 Tasmania News.
Hobart Council has set a new climate action goal of 0 emissions across the city by 2040. Among initiatives to assist is a new town rivulet platypus project aiming to get young people to take action in protecting the natural environment.
So it's about introducing kids, into their backyard and working with some schools to do some land care based activities, some tree planting, some surveys.
Community are really keen for us to help lead them and businesses in the area to be part of emission reductions.
Over the next 6 years, Council aims to reduce emissions by 70%. There's a new hope for Tasmania's Maugean skate. A report from the Institute of Marine and Antarctic Studies has found a population decline since 2021 has appeared to stabilise, but numbers still remain at very low levels. The Bob Brown Foundation says the report reinforces the urgency to remove fish farms from the harbour. But Salmon Tasmania's top boss, Luke Martin, claims it is proof farming operations can coexist with the skate. A Hobart facility will defend its title for having Australia's best tasting tap water after winning the state competition for a 3rd year in a row. Judges meticulously tasting 13 different samples from across the state.
For Chris, the quality of Tasmania's tap water is something he's been passionate about since he took the job several years ago.
A lot of hours go into managing the plant, managing the water network in the Greater Hobart area.
He works at the Fern Tree Water Treatment Plant, where has been awarded as ICSM's best tasting tap water in Tasmania, in Devonport for the 3rd year in a row. Its location, near Kunyani Mount Wellington, a major advantage in providing high-quality H2O.
It's a mountain water system, so with the rain events, with the rainfall, snow melt from Mount Wellington, it goes into our 9 catchments.
This water bottle will now enter a national competition, the ultimate state of origin, to win the title of Australia's best drop. Australia's water industry peak body also named Tasmania's representative for a national main tapping competition in Melbourne, where crews place a valve into a pressurised water pipe in the quickest time. A West Coast team won in 3 minutes and 9 seconds.
It's a fantastic opportunity for us to be able to represent and show the work that TasWater does every day.
Mark Zita, 7 Tasmanian News.
Families in Glenorchy will have access to a child and family learning hub from early next year. The one-stop shop will provide parents and children with psychology, speech pathology and social work services.
Those services can come together in the one place, which means that we're able to pick up if a child needs some extra care in a certain area.
It'll be great, somewhere to come and play, connect with other people in the community.
The state government is also committing $32 million over the next 5 years to deliver 4 other centres across the state. Launceston could soon have a 5-star designer hotel located on Patterson Street. Plans released today show designs for a 190-room facility, which will be run by a major international hotel partner. Peak industry bodies have welcomed the announcement. The Tourism Industry Council says the proposal will boost confidence in northern Tasmania's visitor economy.
Jackies fans can breathe a sigh of relief as injury clouds clear for 2 stars, and they have a cheeky pre-game plan for Melbourne United as they return to their home court for the first time since the championship playoffs. After weeks away, the globe-trotting Jackies couldn't be happier to be back at MyState Bank Arena for the first time since March. It's an opportunity to rub in their series win over Melbourne United one final time, unfurling their championship banner over the court before the game, although it could be like waving a red flag to a bull.
You know, they're our first home game, so we'll unveil the banner in front of them. Maybe it will, but everyone in this league's super competitive. I don't think they'll need anything external to come out and give their best.
All that really matters is avoiding a repeat of their most recent encounter on Thursday.
Definitely need to tidy some stuff up from the other night, and I think they're a quick fix. There was a lot of hands, fouls.
The way we play naturally, we're so aggressive, intense, and up the court, we can be prone to making those mistakes, and they punish us, I guess. So just being smart, really smart with that, and making sure we're being physical in the right way.
The good news is concussion fears for Will Magnay have been dismissed, and nursing an iced knee after today's session, Craig Sword is fighting fit, cleared from his head knock.
He's moving quite well. It was good to have him out on the floor, and he changes us defensively. He's a good athlete, and he's got good length, and will need to be quite physical on the ball, and he can provide that.
Sean McDonald will be out for a while yet, but his replacement is slotting in just fine.
Lockie Barker knows our system. We trust him. He played a valuable role for us last year. He might not have had a lot of minutes on the court, but if you want to have success, you've got to have depth. There's a lot of trust in Lockie, so it's great to have him back in.
The Prospect High School girls are lifting the Hawks Tassie Cup for the very first time, putting in a barnstorming effort in cold and dreary conditions to get the better of Maris Burney in the final at UTAS. Prospect's Georgia McKenty taking the medal for best on ground.
It was wet and it was a bit slippery at the end, but I feel like we all pulled through and it was really good.
Yumi Amori was voted Marist MVP. Tabitha Savills firing on all cylinders in the West, leading scoring as Tasmania kicked its WNCL title defence off in style. Setting a formidable target of 219 at the Wacker, the Tigers were just as aggressive with the ball, and despite the hosts' efforts to keep plucking away, they quickly ran out of time and steam in their chase. Nicola Carey wrapping things up with a cordon bowled just a few moments ago for a 52-run win. 2022 Burnie 10 winner Leanne Pompiani is returning next month for a second crack, and she has a bit of extra motivation this time, having just had her all-comers Australian record over 10Ks beaten by Izzy Bat-Doyle in Melbourne on Sunday. The Diamondbacks are on a high after a history-making weekend in the Premier League hockey, having edged out Canterbury in an epic clash to claim their first title in 46 years. They made it certain it won't be another half-century until the next one.
If we can keep that group together, we've got a chance to sort of just add a couple of players each year and hopefully stay competitive for a long time.
The women are comfortable with the target on their backs as the team to beat next season.
Definitely, back-to-back would be awesome.
It's the first time the women's side has won the flag since 2004. And that is United in Sport, Kim.
OK, thank you, Nick. Kaya Wicks will join us after the break with a weather forecast.
Good evening. Hobart 13 today, 11 in Launceston and Devonport, Burnie 10 degrees. Flinders Island, the high with 17, 16 on King Island, St Helens 15, Friendly Beaches 14, 13 at Smithton and Grove, Strawn and Lowhead 12, 10 the top at Ouse and 9 in Lyweni. The satellite shows high cloud extending over the entire state from the northwest. Extensive high cloud is also seen over southern, central and eastern Australia. Now, the low will move well to the south of Tasmania as the cold front crosses the state tomorrow morning. West to northwesterly winds 10 to 20 knots about the north, grading up to 35 knots about the south. West to southwesterly swells building up to 5 metres. Tomorrow we have a gale warning between Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point and a strong wind warning for remaining coastal waters, although that will spare the east of Flinders Island, but will include Frederick Henry, Norfolk and Storm Bay, the Channel and the southwest lakes. A warning exists to sheep graziers in the southeast and a bushwalkers weather alert with snow expected to fall as low as 300 metres in the west. Showery towards the south tomorrow, Hobart 14, 12 for Geeveston, Bothwell 11 degrees. A couple of showers also for the north, Launceston 16, 15 the high for Devonport and Cressy. Wet weather extending to the west also, 14 in Burnie, 11 for Strawn and 13 the top for Curry. And soggy also for the east, unfortunately, St Helens and Orford both 15, Swansea 16 degrees. Thursday, areas of morning frost about inland parts of the north, showery about the west and south, contracting to the southwest throughout the day with snow falling to 400 metres in the south. Friday, areas of morning frost continuing about inland parts with temperatures in the mid to high teens expected. And the all-important forecast for grand final day on Saturday, it will be fine and sunny about most parts with Hobart and Swansea expecting a lovely 21 degrees. Showers and a possible storm in Alice Springs tomorrow, 26, warming up in Sydney 30 there, 18 and a shower or two on the way for Adelaide. Cloudy in Hobart right now, 11 degrees, showery across Launceston 13 and also showers for Devonport with 11 rather. Kim, you wouldn't know it, but as I mentioned, the forecast for the AFL Grand Final is not looking too bad this weekend.
Yeah, nice. Might need to clean the barbie. Thank you, Kaya. That is all we have time for tonight. We'll have updates later. Thanks for joining us. Good night.